Hey, it's Chris, and today I wanted to talk about something that's super important to us musicians and producers and stuff, and that is actual song production, right? And one of the key things is the mix. And the reason I'm bringing that up right now is I was just working on some of my own music. I'm just literally doing it on my laptop, and I was pulling up some tracks and listening to sort of the vibe of what the mix was going to sound like when I start mixing it. And it was just like not that inspiring. And so what I did is I went through another bunch of parts and tried to figure out if I'd replace the loop or some samples or something to make it a little more exciting in a particular part of the song. Now, one of the ways to quickly get around that, when you sort of run into this situation where you're thinking, my mix isn't really sounding that good, or even my pre-mix isn't sounding that great, how am I going to get my song into shape so that I'm excited about it? Well, here's a trick for you. So one of the things that you can do is when you're listening, zero out your board, like you're in your DAW, just zero all your faders out or pull them all down. Of course, save a session, save a new session. You can do it from scratch. So the first thing that you want to do is take the primary parts, all the big pieces of your mix, and just start to pull them up gradually, one by one. You're not going to have very many primary parts, right? You probably have the beat, you got your bass probably, and then the vocal for sure, and then there's probably one other instrument. That's probably, you've got 4 elements that are the primary part of your song. Even if you have like 64 tracks going, you're not going to fit them all in there equally, right? Some are meant to be spices, some are meant to be the main course, essentially. So pull up the main elements one at a time, and you can do them individually and try to see which one is turning you on the most. Like if you bring up the beat, is that really carrying the song on its own? Does the beat sound great in the speakers? If it doesn't, you might want to change it. If it does, then you're probably good to go, and what's bugging you is something else. So then pull in the bass behind the beat. Turn it up, turn it down, try different levels, listen to it. Does it excite you? Does it sound great? Then when you pull the vocal and your other instrument in, when you get that really fundamental basic mix of those things, doesn't have to be perfect, is it still bugging you, right? Was it just when all the faders were up, you're feeling a little bit lackluster about the whole thing? If everything sounds good with the fundamental parts up and you're like, this sounds great, you feel really good, then you're fine. Trust me, you're fine. If you need to change some of the secondary or tertiary parts later during the mix, that is easy. If you sit there and say, something's still bugging me with these 4 elements up, it's time to make a change. You've got to fix something, because that's a sure sign that it cannot stand up on its own. You can't just, wallpaper over the problem. This is a fundamental part of your mix. This is just a quick pre-mix tip, because mixing is so important. It can really make or break your song in music licensing, whether you're going after labels, just putting it up on Spotify, trying to get fans. Your mix has to nail it. And so that's one of the tricks I use to figure out if I'm there, if I'm ready for the mix yet. And I hope you found that helpful. And if you have another technique that you like to use, you want to teach me something, which would be, I love learning, comment below. Right below here, I look at every single comment and I answer every single one. Just post a comment. Let me know what your sort of pre-mix trick is, or even something in the mix that you think is really kind of sets you apart or whatever. Or if you have a question, just put it there too, and I'll try to answer it the best I can. All right, have a great rest of your week. Happy mixing, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Bye-bye.